name's Eli. I'm here to show you how to operate the hot tub at the property on Round Table Road. Today it's been sitting empty for a couple of weeks, or a week or two, and it's been turned off, so you can tell it's super gross. But I'm going to show you today how we can make it go from this to the fantastic, enjoyable thing it is. First process is that you're going to bail it or empty it. Now you can do that using a hose and creating a siphon if you've got time. We're a little pressed for time today, so we're just going to empty it manually. Typically you want to empty it or do a full drain and fill, that's what it's called, maybe once a year, twice a year, depending on how dirty you've got it. If you've gotten some kind of weird situation where you dropped a drink in it, or you dropped I think a suntan lotion in it, you've really contaminated the water, I'd probably go ahead and do a drain and fill, or like the dog gets in it. Some things the filters can handle, some things they can't. If you think it's super dirty, all you need to do is just create a siphon by dunking an entire garden hose in the thing, letting it get all the air out, and let it create a siphon. Then run the other end down out on the side of the yard, and let it slowly, it'll take like 4 or 5 hours, slowly siphon all the dirty water out. And you'll have to bail maybe the last 6 inches or so out manually. There's a point where the gravity can't work. But for today, we're going to go ahead and just bail it manually so that we can get this done in about an hour. And that's it. And we'll show you the rest of it here in just a minute as we go. So we got the hot tub emptied. That took maybe 15 minutes with 2 people working on it. What I'm doing next is I'm going to take I forget what you call these, but a non-scratch pad. You use them in like kitchenwares and that kind of stuff. It's so that you don't actually scrape it. This is the shell of the hot tub. We don't actually want to scratch it, so you don't want to use anything abrasive on it, like sandpaper or Comet or any of that stuff. But this is just a non-scratch scouring pad, and I'm going to use it to kind of get any of the mold or mildew or gunk that's on the hot tub, especially on the water edge. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all that. And then any of the, you'll see these sometimes, the little, the jet covers will sometimes come off. You kind of just have to put them back on. Now, I'm not actually filling the hot tub right now. What I've done is I've gotten my hose, and I'm kind of rinsing everything off. Now, the previous tenant was not super good about keeping the outside of the hot tub clean. That's why you've got all this gunk on the outside. So I would really recommend that you get a little blower. They're like 20 bucks at Home Depot, and just keep all the leaves and all the crap off of this area. Because otherwise when you're stepping in and you're stepping out of the hot tub, you're going to bring in all that trash in with you. Keeping the outside of the hot tub clean means that whenever you step into the hot tub, it's going to stay clean. And it's much easier to keep it clean. It's much easier to keep it clean longer, and you don't have to do this as often. So that's all I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to rinse the sides down and kind of wipe everything down lightly, just to get any of the mildew or that scum off, so that when I do put clean water in it, it's clean and it's ready to go. That's step 2. I've wiped down the exterior of the hot tub. I've wiped down the interior of the hot tub as best as I can, just to get all of it. You're going to get a couple of leaves that fall in from all the trees kind of as you're filling it, but now I'm just going to let it fill. So I'm going to turn the hose on. It's going to take, I want to say maybe 3-4 hours for it to fill, so you can be safe in like going to lunch and then coming back. But you know, if you're home on a Saturday, it's easy. You can do this in the morning. While it's filling though, I want to talk to you about the cover. So this is a walk-on top cover, so it'll support a little bit of weight. You'll notice though that we've got the gate to keep the dogs out of it. For the damage you see here, where this has gotten ripped, is where a dog got on there and decided that he liked the way it made noise. So today we're going to go get some duct tape and we're going to repair this. We also went ahead and, I think the cover was left open for a little while, so it's got some dirt on it. I went ahead and wiped this down the same way. I spritzed it down with some antibacterial stuff, and then I just rinsed it off. You want to keep as much dirt and crap off of this as possible, for the same reason, that you want to keep the outside of the hot tub clean. The less dirt you have around it, the easier it is to keep it clean, the easier it is to enjoy it. It sounds like a lot of work, but it really isn't. This is something you might do once a quarter. Take it off. If it gets dirty, or you get something on it, just be sure you rinse it. You can also stand it up. You'll notice that it's really heavy sometimes, and then if you stand it up, you'll get a bench of water rush out of it. There's a couple different layers of plastic in here where the water gets trapped to keep all this heat in. It's really just like the top to a thermos. It just collects all that water, especially when it's hot. So every time, just kind of let it stand up, let it do its thing. I'll show you how to take it off the hot tub once we get it full and running, but just so you know. While we've got this turned off, and you can kind of see everything, you can see there's a couple different lounge positions. The controls over here are for, kind of lets you play with the jets a little bit. They don't really do too much of anything. And then you've got your control panel. I'm going to come over here so you can see it. So this is an Image Spa. You won't see these anywhere because it was a generic brand name. It was sold at Sam's Club. And it's really, I want to say it's a Genesis is who actually makes it. But temperature up, jets on, lights on, temperature down. The temperature range is somewhere between 95 degrees and 105. You just kind of set it where you're comfortable. I like to keep it at the low end of the spectrum because you can stay on a little bit longer. This is probably the most important part of the spa because this is where your filter goes, this is where your strainer basket goes, and then this guy is your intake. I'll talk about daily, weekly, monthly maintenance on these things later, but just know when I talk about the intake or the skimmer, this is what I'm talking about. It's intensely important that you always keep your water line somewhere in here so that the pump never runs out of water. So I always recommend that even if you don't use it, once a day, every other day, come out here and check and see where the water level's at just to make sure. Hot tubs are notorious for developing slow leaks, especially when they're built into decks. It's a pain to try to find that leak, so just check it. Every other day at minimum. If you're going to go out of town, I would probably turn it off. And there's a breaker box just under us. There's also a breaker on the house. The breaker box is right under there if you can see it. So if you're going to go out of town for a couple days or a week, if you're going to go on vacation, I would probably turn it off, and then when you get back, you don't have to do a drain and fill, but I would do a shock treatment. Maybe top it off with fresh water, but that way you don't have to worry about the pump burning out while you're gone because it runs out of water. So, anyway, you can see kind of how quickly it's filling. We're going to take a break and go get some lunch, and we're also going to go get you all of the chemicals that you'll need to do it, and when we get back, I will show you with a full hot tub how to treat it and what all the chemicals are. Guys, so we just got back. We were gone about 2 hours and the hot tub was completely full. You can overfill a hot tub. What I was talking about earlier, so just 2 hours for this thing to fill. So this is what happens. So all the dunk, and you'll see there's a couple leaves that have fallen in it. These will slowly, when the hot tub is running, migrate over here and then get caught in the filter. You want your water line to be somewhere below this so that that can happen. But if you get lower than this, obviously the bottom of the intake, no water can get in. And then the pump's going to run dry. It'll burn itself out trying to run. Obviously when you get people in here, water level's going to go up a little bit, whatever, but you're not going to be in there for more than an hour time, so not a big deal. But when you're filling it, you want to keep it somewhere in between here. So if you're going to fill it and you know you're going to use it the next day, just try to keep it above that line so that it can work properly. Somewhere here in the middle is fine. Okay. Next, let's look at your equipment. So this was your old filter that was in there from the previous tenant. That's super disgusting. This is what it looked like new, just so you know. These get replaced every year. This is the model for them. I'll give you the contact guy at the pool place who knows how to order them. Sometimes the jets for this tub will fall out. If you will just save the unit that falls out, like this one fell out, so we got the new one here. If you'll save the ones if they fall out, just give them in to Brian or Karen at the rental place. We can order replacements for them, but only if you give them to us because they're really hard to match otherwise. So if anything comes off of it, save it and we'll get new ones. Old filter, new filter. I'll show you how to install it in just a second. Next, we've got our hot tub full, so now I'm going to talk about the chemicals. We have shock. I just use pull shock. We have pH down. We have pH up. And you have 1-inch stabilizer tablets These are either bromine or chlorine, either one. I don't really care about the brand, it doesn't really matter. Pick whatever kind you like. I'll leave you enough that you've got enough for the year though, and I'll refresh if you guys are new next year, so no big. This is your floater. You just take one of these tablets, take the top off, put it in there, leave this guy floating in the hot tub. When you go to use the hot tub, you can take him out and set him on the side, but what this does, it's a stabilizer tablet, so it's just a slow release chlorine or bromine, whichever of the two it is, that keeps bacteria, all those other bad things from accumulating. That's really easy. So just make sure you get a tablet in here all the time. Shock. Your body's got bacteria in it. The water, if it sits for a while, so maybe you don't use the hot tub for a week or 2 weeks, and you know you're going to use it tonight, you got a hot date or something, put some of this in there beforehand. It'll clean up cloudy water, it'll kill in the algae or the bacteria that's in there, and help the filter work better. For this size hot tub, I would use 1 tablespoon. Do it at least 30 minutes before you plan on using the hot tub, just because it'll have a chemically smell when you first use it, and that'll dissipate over time. You can buy this at Home Depot. The bag is like $5. It's no big deal. The pH up and the pH down are used in conjunction with your test kit. I also have test strips for you. These are really easy. These are a little bit more complicated, but it's not hard to use. It's just so you can figure out what the alkalinity of the pool or the hot tub is, and then adjust it up or down. If it's too high or too low pH level, you may notice it burns your skin a little bit, or there's algae in the water, something like that. These are the two. Try just to test the water, see where it's at, and then you can adjust from there. Maintenance on this is pretty easy. Make sure that you have a bromine tablet in there all the time. When you use it or you plan on using it, shock the water if you notice it being cloudy, or just to kill the bacteria. And then every so often, maybe once a month, check the pH. If your skin's burning a little bit, check the pH. It may be too high or too low, either or. That's the chemicals. Next I'm going to show you the filter and how to change the filter. Hey guys, so this is your new filter. This is your old filter. If you don't use the chemicals right, the filter will deteriorate faster. This is disgusting, so we're going to just throw it away and get you this new one. These last about 1 year to 2 years if cared for properly. This is your strainer basket. I'm going to show you how to put these things in there and check them. Ideally, once a month you're taking this out, putting the hose up to it, and blowing all the excess hair, leaves, gunk out of it. The filter basket you want to check once a week, or every time that you use it, and clean out any of the stuff in there. Sometimes you'll get like a tree frog in there or something. It's just kind of gross. But all you got to do is just take the stuff out. So these guys sit in this thing, which is the filter holder. There was a cover for this, and I'll try to order another one. It's magically disappeared, so just watch. Don't spill your drink in it. If you look straight down, you can see that there's a hole down there that this filter very clearly sits in. So all I'm going to do, so I've got my filter out. It goes this way. There's a little lip on the, see how the little lip is on there? So you can tell which end is up. And literally all it does is goes down and kind of sits in place. So it's going to float because this one's brand new. This obviously sits down in there. And it's just a straight tube at the bottom. Right here though, you can see there's little edges to it, and the strainer filter is made to go like that, and it kind of locks in place. You've got little gaps on the side. So all you got to do is line up the gaps, push it down, and then twist. And that is all you do. Ideally you want to check that filter once a month, check the strainer basket at least once a week, and clean it out. We talked about the water level already. That's super important. Next, let's turn it on, and I'll show you where the breaker boxes are located, and then we'll get this thing started. Hey guys, so I'm right here, just underneath the deck, just underneath the kitchen window. There's a breaker box. This is the only thing that's on this breaker is the hot tub. So all you gotta do is gotta open it, turn it on, and close it. In just a second, the hot tub will kick on. If you're gonna go away for the week, rather than leave the hot tub on, go ahead and just turn it off. You can hear it kicking on. Okay, so it just turned itself on. You'll notice that there's a little bit of debris floating around. As the hot tub cycles up, most of that stuff will get pushed to the surface and it'll get caught in the strainer filter or the regular filter. Don't plan on doing a drain and fill and having a party that night. It takes about a day, 24 hours or so for it to bring itself up to temperature. So right now it's just cold water. What I'm going to do is to get this hot tub started, all I'm going to do is to start it off, I'm going to put 2 bromine tablets in there. Just because this water is brand new. And then I'm going to do a tablespoon of the shock, just because the hot tub's been sitting. Even though the water is fresh, I don't know what's been sitting in the pipes. And this will just kind of kill all the algae, clean it up, so that this water will stay fresh for a long time. So that's, we talked about chemicals, we talked about how to change it, we talked about how to clean the water. The last thing, the cover, this is a walk on top cover, but that doesn't mean you should walk on it. Because the dogs always make sure the gate is closed and solid. Always try to make sure that the little flaps are on the outside. The cover may get torn up, that's what happens. That's what duct tape is for. If you tear it or anything else, just put duct tape on it so that it doesn't get wet. If it gets waterlogged, it loses its ability to retain heat and keep the insects out. So, anyway, you'll have a beautiful hot tub to enjoy on the weeknights and weekends. I hope you enjoy it. The chemicals will be in the kitchen. I'll leave you the business card of the spa guy who can reorder stuff for you, answer any questions. They also will do all of this for you if you want. It's not very difficult to do yourself. If you can watch this video, you can watch other YouTube videos. It's not very difficult. I'm going to leave a couple of bags of salt in the garage. It's a rough salt, it's pool salt. This is not a saltwater spa, but you use it as a kind of as a water conditioner. Like I would put literally like a measuring cup or 2 measuring cups into the water before I get in it, and it just gives it that nice kind of spa feel. It just conditions the water to make it smell like saline salt water. It's just kind of a nice experience. It doesn't really do anything for the spa chemically wise, but it just makes it more enjoyable. So it's cheap. There's 2 bags of it out in the garage. Don't overdo it though, because it'll overkill the filter, but you can put in 2 cups a week and it's not going to hurt anything, okay? Thanks so much. Enjoy.